Hello everyone, this segment is called Superimposing Exposing. What is superimposing? Well, superimposing is when people are using mind reading equipment on you, and such as they can actually read your thoughts through EMF waves, LED, microwave energy, perhaps through the same methods they use through kinetic tracking. I don't pretend to know all these things. I just know the technology exists, and I kind of report it back to you, the public, those who care to watch, what I have uncovered. Now, superimposing is a term, one of many terms that organized stalking groups use to redirect your thoughts in a certain direction, to look for such things as anything they can use against you, anything they can use to manipulate you, anything they can use to find guilt or fault for. Some of the reasons they do this is if they can find something you are guilty for or at fault for, they may be able to use that as leverage to either manipulate you or get a prosecutable offense against you. Superimposing is basically the method of going in and making you reflect through some sort of impulse technology. You got to understand the human body is made up of electricity. EMF, electromagnetic field, is some of the technology they use. LED, all these things are electric, and so they direct that energy toward you through your tracking, through kinetic tracking perhaps, or even a device, which is more rare, and they get into your head and they make you reflect on things, or they even seize a thought and try to pull anything they can out of that thought to detect for a sign of guilt or a sign of perhaps fault for something that you may have done in your past. And like I said, the reasons they do this is either to find you at fault for something that you are afraid of and use it against you as leverage to control your mind. Either that, or they are actually looking for some sort of memory they can seize upon to reveal you as a guilty suspect in a crime even. Who are the groups that do these sort of things? Well, number one would be the NSA. The NSA is the one who coined this technology. Other groups that would have access to this is obviously the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Central Intelligence Agency, and of course police groups, mafia, a combination of the prior organizations which I've mentioned, that certain members of police departments or mafia, FBI, CIA go rogue. And they use this technology to target individuals, in some cases just to see if they can. In other cases, the individual has done something to offend their police department, their integrity, or they just don't like that person in general, and they become a target. It could also be, you know, that person has political views that don't line up with the agency's protocol for things. And so they view them as a potential threat or a threat. And they go in and they superimpose their thoughts to reveal anything they possibly can. That means, hey, if you have done something, if you are a criminal, you're pretty much fucked. They're going to get it. They're going to seize your thought and possibly gather evidence on that thought. In some counties and states, of course, thought spiking is inadmissible in court. That means if your thoughts spike, that say you're guilty or you feel guilty for something, and they look at the chart that these people use, some states are going to deny that in their courts because, as it's said by one judge, a man's thoughts should be his own. However, in some instances, they can use this in certain courts, with certain favoritism, they can use this as evidence against you to get a conviction. Perhaps, if it's a police agency or it's police and mafia working together for whatever reason, I don't know. They can use this to present as evidence, or they can use your thought as a basis to gather evidence to build a case against you. Say they know you are guilty for a crime because they've seized your thought, and you have done something in your past. Well, they could, even in a state that does not accept thought spiking as evidence, they can use that thought to look for evidence to build their case against you, and then use the thought spiking as additional evidence. Now, what is spiking? Spiking is something that occurs when a person spikes a certain reaction to an impulse signal. If they're superimposing your thoughts, that would be a guilty spike, and so you spike. They get a spike on a monitor. It's like, imagine an EKG or a heart monitor. It runs something along those lines, from what I gather, and they see that your thoughts have some potential for fault or guilt in a situation. I know this sounds far out, and I don't expect everybody to believe it, but I'm telling you, the technology is real. There's no doubt about it. There's victims of this every day. How do I know this stuff? Well, because I've been doing my own investigation and pulling out information, misleading these people as I go along, so they give me more information. They think that, they can find something that I've done, and I haven't done a thing. So I have been using their own methodology against them. And it's this simple. Don't respond. If you can actually hear them use these terms, I'm sure some people have. If you hear these terms, be very cautious.